I support the new assisted dying laws in spite of the fact that I was brought up in the Catholic faith and am a retired nurse. In my experience, the best palliative care does not always make for a dignified, peaceful, pain-free death. I therefore respect people who make this choice, especially if they are suffering from a terminal illness or a degenerative condition where they no longer have quality of life or are totally incapacitated. Surely, if a person of sound mind takes this option, it is their human right to die as they please. Why doesn't Ash support this assisted dying legislation?
So Ash, we'll start with you. You're back on deck.
Thank you so like I don't like speaking as it is, but thank you so much for the question. It's a really important question. And more to the point, I used to be like, why should I even care? It's someone's freedom of choice. I might morally disagree with it, but it really is up to them. And to be honest, when I looked into it just a little bit further, I did have a few concerns on this issue. And one of the issues that really came to my attention that I was quite frightened about is currently we have safeguards in place. Yet initially when Belgium put this into practice, I don't know if it's 20 odd years ago, they also had the same safeguards, I imagine, in place, but that has slidden down. And I was just reading children as young as 9 have been able to access euthanasia. One of them, I believe, it was because they had maybe spina bifida and the life expectancy was only 30 or 40. And that's, where I'm afraid to go. But the other thing in my mind...
Ash, you realise that we are talking about the law in another country and the Victorian laws are extremely different with many safeguards that would prevent that from happening.
I am very suspicious on anything that calls itself a safeguard.
So you're going... Your slippery slope argument.
I am a slippery slope, but it's not slippery slope in the fallacy sense in that I'm looking at another country and I think we're following roughly the same ideology or the same fashions or fads. If that's not a rude word, I do apologise. But I guess the other feeling I have on this issue, if my grandmother or whatever was ill, I'd feel I was taking her to the vet. That's what we do with our pets when we put them down. I just think there's something fundamental about the human dignity, and once again, I'm a Christian, they're made in the image and likeness of God, that we care for our people at all costs.
Okay, Ash, I'm going to just pause you there because I'd like to go back to Katherine. You were talking about dignity and the dignity of people who are dying in terrible pain without the right to decide this is enough.
That's right.
So how does it feel listening to Ash talking about dignity?
I feel that in my experience, the people don't die with dignity. And I think with this new assisted dying law, that they will be allowed to die with dignity because it's their choice to seek this option. So I'm not really sure what you mean, but your line in that regard.
Yeah, I think there's something about the fundamental respect for human life and the Hippocratic Oath with the doctors that separates us. And I do think humans do sit in a different category to the rest of life on Earth. And, you know, maybe that's just my opinion. And it does shock me that safeguards are not, I am worried where it could go. But on that, I'm also worried about other people accessing healthcare in Australia and how they may feel about that. I remember 20 years ago when it was introduced to the Northern Territory, Indigenous people and also people of some of the ethnic minorities were very afraid to then access healthcare because they were worried about what the potential might be.
Ash, I'm going to draw it back to the other panellists, and Katherine, to start with you.
Yeah, look, I support the Victorian voluntary assisted dying laws. I think that there are 68 safeguards in place. They are very, the model that's been used is a very conservative model. I think anyone who has seen anyone dying of motor neurone disease, an absolutely hideous disease, has seen some of the circumstances of death. It's not pretty. It's horrible sometimes for people when you hear descriptions of people bringing up faeces constantly because they're unable to actually defecate anymore. It's horrendous, and the reality for many people's deaths is terrible. And I think as a nurse, Katherine, you would have seen many of that. The laws are very, very narrow. You do have to be able, you have to be of sound mind, you have to have had people signing off that you know exactly what you're doing, you have to be dying within the next 6 months and 12 months depending on the two narrow
and the role of doctors.
And the role of doctors is absolutely critical. I heard someone on the ABC just the other day, a doctor who's done the training recently, and he talked about what an act of courage it's going to be to actually do this. He's nervous about it, he's worried about it, but believes very much for to his patients that this is part of the continuity of care that he can provide. I think it's been a really brave step for Victoria to go down this pathway, and I think we'll see other states follow.